Alright guys, I am back with another Horror Room movie review, and today is Wrong Turn 3, Left 4 Dead, and man, strap yourselves in for this one, because I didn't even realize I had so many pages of notes when I was watching this, but a lot of stuff happens in this movie and I didn't want to leave anything out, so I ended up with like 4 or 5 pages of notes just with all the crap that happens in this one. But I'm going to try and get through it without leaving anything out. But this movie came out in 2009. And it's not a bad movie. I thought it was interesting. I liked how they kind of went with the prisoners instead of just regular victims. So it's at one point it's almost like the prisoners are the bad guys. And you're kind of rooting for the cannibal, but I thought it was an interesting take on the series and everything, so I did enjoy this movie somewhat, but some of the acting was so bad in this one. Definitely Wrong Turn 2 and Wrong Turn are the way to go. So far, I'm not sure about 4 and 5 yet, but right now, the first 2 are good. This one, you could skip. But anyways, it starts off and we see a group of 4 people rafting down a river. They stop to set up camp. This, you instantly realize just how bad the acting is with these 4. One girl takes her top off because the girls need to breathe, she says. Just nudity, just to have it. And the other girl and guy go to look for some firewood. The topless girl gets on top of the other guy. They're going to have sex. And she gets shot in the back with an arrow. It comes out her boob. And he's got his hand on her breast. And it goes through his hand. So he gets up and he takes off. The other guy shows up and gets killed with a spear through the mouth, I believe. He also shoots another arrow through the topless girl. It goes through her head and out her eyeball. And he eventually catches up, or he doesn't catch up to the other guy who took off. He walks into a trap that cuts him into 3 pieces. Really bad gore here. It was like a sci-fi movie with the blood coming out. It just looked bad. It looked like something out of Mortal Kombat for the Super Nintendo. Just not good at all. So, one girl is still alive though. Then we see a prison. There's this guy, Chavez, talking to a skinhead. They're in cahoots about something. And we see one of the guards. The warden tells him that we're going to transfer Chavez, and we heard his gang might try to break him out. And we're going to send in this undercover marshal to go with you just in case some shit pops off. So, they get ready to transfer Chavez. We see the local police department get a call about the missing rafters, and the sheriff goes to look for them. And as they're loading up the prisoners to make the transfer, we see this one guy, Crawford. We see a soldier who says he's innocent, but he was a soldier and he accidentally killed a bartender. That's why he's in there, but he says he was innocent of it. Crawford says he doesn't want to be handcuffed next to this cold-blooded killer, because Crawford only jacks cars. And one of the guards says, "Shut up, Crawford." Just like that. I don't know if this guy had any other lines in the movie, but that was awesome. So Crawford's like the skinny guy who talks too much. The soldier, Chavez, the skinhead, and the marshal. So they load them all up into this bus, and they arrive at the local police station, I guess so they can use the bathroom and stuff. And the sheriff is there, so I guess he didn't find the rafters. And we see the 2 cannibals setting up a trap in the woods. The one who shot the girl with the arrow, and then another one who looks really messed up, which turns out to be his son. Only 2 cannibals in the movie, by the way. They leave the police station, and a pickup truck starts riding their ass, ramming the side of the bus. It drops some barbed wire, which pops the tire and causes the bus to roll down a hill. And of course we see it's the cannibal. They're freaking out thinking it's Chavez's gang, but it's just the cannibal. So they climb out of the bus, and Chavez gets a gun. Another guard shows up out of nowhere with a shotgun. I didn't even see this guy in the bus, at the police station, anywhere, but he pops up and gets hit in the neck with a throwing knife by the cannibal. So they still think it may be Chavez's gang until the cannibal just starts shooting arrows at them. So they fire off some rounds from the guns into the woods to try and scare him off. The keys to the chains got destroyed, so the prisoners are all chained together. And Chavez tells Nate to take him to a phone so that he can call his gang or he's going to kill him. The missing girl from the rafting trip jumps out of the woods and she tells the group about the mutant cannibal in the woods. And Chavez wants to use her raft to escape, so they head towards the river. They find an armored car out in the middle of the woods. Hasn't been reported. It's full of freaking money. In the middle of the woods. Like, no roads are even around this freaking thing. But Chavez sends Nate to check it out. Nate finds a gun. He hides it. And they open the back. They find all this money. They start fighting over it. Nate hands the gun to Walter, the other guard who was injured in the bus explosion. And he gives it to him because Chavez wouldn't expect him. So Walter can't carry the bags of money. And Chavez is pissed off. He says, if you can't carry your own weight, I'll just kill you now. Walter pulls out the gun. It's not loaded. So Chavez just kills Walter. They set off one of the traps and the young cannibal attacks. Chavez shoots him, and then he does something to send a message to the cannibal. We don't see what it is yet, but he does something to his son. Like I said earlier, they really make the victims feel like the bad guys. Like, you're kind of thinking, this is pretty messed up. It's just a young mutant cannibal. So they make it to the raft. Nate stabs it so that they have to keep walking. Chavez snaps, but Nate says that he still needs someone to carry the money, so he lets him live. This happens over and over again. Nate keeps screwing them. Chavez keeps letting him live. It became ridiculous. But the cannibal finds his son's head on one of the stakes of the trap. And you hear the cannibal just freak out, start screaming. Felt bad for him here. They set off another trap, and the marshal gets his face cut off. The entire time, Chavez never finds out that this guy was a marshal. He thinks he's just a regular prisoner. They did nothing with this. So I was kind of surprised they killed off the marshal first with the group of prisoners. I mean, it was just kind of random. They didn't do anything with the storyline that he was undercover. Chavez cuts his legs off so that they don't have to carry his entire body. They make it to a camp and they find some tools to cut the chains off. Nate, the girl, and the soldier are trying to plan an escape. They need weapons because of the cannibal, and the soldier tells Nate that they've passed the same tree 4 times in 2 hours, and that they better hope Chavez doesn't catch on. That is one small circle he is taking them in. How in the hell do they not catch on to passing the same tree 4 times in 2 hours? He seriously must be walking them up a hill and down a hill over and over again without anyone catching on except the soldier and the girl. That's hard to believe right there. So they come across the cannibal's tow truck and they send Crawford to hotwire it, but of course it's a trap and Crawford gets caught in a barbed wire net. This was really awesome. I like this. So he's wrapped up in all this barbed wire, and then the cannibal drives off in the truck, and then he lets it down, so he's dragging his body across the road. It was pretty cool. The sheriff finds the bus, and Chavez and the skinhead get into a fight. Nate and the girl escape. Chavez beats his ass, and the soldier and Chavez take off together. He actually gives the soldier a gun, just in case the cannibal comes out, and they leave the skinhead behind. Chavez catches up to Nate and the girl. He lets him live again because Nate says they're almost to a watchtower where Chavez can call his men. So they get to the tower, but it's been burned down. Chavez is pissed about this. He gets ready to kill Nate, but the sheriff shows up. Nate takes the prisoners' guns, But the cannibal is in a tree. He drops a spear and it goes directly into the sheriff's mouth. Chavez grabs the guns back, and we're right back where we started with him in charge. This entire thing was pointless. That's not even the best part. The best part of this is the cannibal is in a tree. He's right there. They shoot at him a couple times, and then they leave. He's stuck up there. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you right now, everybody in this movie dies except the girl. Everyone. So, they could have ended all of this right now and avoided all of these deaths if they would have just killed him. Keep shooting him. He's in a tree, for God's sake. Set the tree on fire, something. But they shoot at him and then they walk away. It doesn't make any sense. So the skinhead finds the bags of money that Chavez and the soldier hid, and he undoes his belt so that he can carry all the bags. Are prisoners even allowed to have belts? Like, that didn't really make sense either. Chavez shows up and says, "Where's my bags?" Oh, man. So he catches up to the skinhead, and the cannibal hits him with a Molotov cocktail, burning the skinhead and all the money. They come across his pickup truck again, and Chavez sends the girl out thinking that's what the cannibal wants. So he drives off with the girl. Nate's pissed. Chavez tries to kill him again, and the soldier knocks out Chavez. The soldier acted more like the undercover marshal than the marshal did. He knocks him out and tells Nate to go after her. Nate uses the sheriff's dog to track the girl, and she wakes up in the cannibal's house. She sees another girl wrapped up naked in barbed wire, and she immediately dies. She looks around the room and she sees her and she's like, "Help me." And then she's dead and stops moving. This poor girl got naked for this role, for those two lines. Help me. So that happened. Chavez knocks out the soldier, takes his gun. Helicopters start searching the area, so the cannibal comes outside and he runs into Chavez. Chavez shoots him, but it's his last bullet, and of course, third movie in, we know these things are indestructible. So he keeps coming. He's got a meat hook and he's got an axe. And they start fighting each other. He hits him with the meat hook, he gets the upper hand, he puts him on a tree, and then he takes the axe and cuts off the top of Chavez's head. Takes his skull off and eats some of his brains. This was pretty sick. It was also funny because it looked kind of like Jell-O. It looked actually like those old, what were they called? They were toys. I think it was Creepy Crawlies or something. And it was like a thing you could make where it comes with powder and you make your own candy, and it's like gummy worms and spiders and stuff. It looked like that, but it was still a pretty sick scene. Nate makes it to the cabin. He saves the girl. The cannibal shows up and the girl stabs him in the back with the stake his son's head was on. And they leave the cabin, and I actually think we saw the sheriff's body on the table here. Now, the reason this surprises me is because the sheriff was a rather large man. So that means the cannibal was in the tree, the others left, he got down, he got the sheriff's body off the spear, took him all the way back home, and then came back out to mess with him some more. And actually started cutting off pieces of the sheriff's body. He had all the time in the world to do all of these things. So they leave the cabin, they drive off in the cannibal's tow truck, and they see the cannibal in the middle of the road. He jumps in the back of the truck, he starts trying to cut through the roof. They wreck the truck, he goes flying. Truck catches on fire. The soldier shows back up. These are some small woods, man. He shows up, pulls out the girl, pulls out Nate from the burning truck. Cannibal comes back to life. Nate grabs the meat hook and shoves it through his chin, and then throws him on the truck, and the truck explodes. So they're finally done with the cannibal. Nate believes that the soldier was telling the truth, that he was innocent. So he tells him that when the police come, he's just going to tell him that the soldier didn't make it. Which wouldn't really help because he's still going to have to live a life on the run. But he tells him that he can go, and we see the police arrive, and Nate and the girl are taken to safety. So everything's okay. And then the last thing that happens in the movie, the ending I actually liked. I thought this was a pretty cool twist ending here. Nate shows up at the armored van, and there's still some money in there, and he's looking at it, and then he gets shot in the back with an arrow. And we see it's the soldier. And the soldier comes up and says, "I told you to never trust a con." And then behind him, a cannibal shows up. We don't see who the cannibal is, we just know it's a cannibal. And he's got a weapon, and we don't see him kill the soldier, but we hear it. And that was it. That was the end of Wrong Turn 3 Left 4 Dead. So, a lot of stuff happened in this movie, and for the most part, I did enjoy it. I thought it was a cool take on the series with the prisoners and everything instead of your usual victims. I thought they had some cool death scenes with the barbed wire net. The girl wrapped in barbed wire in the cabin was pretty sick, and the brains thing was cool. So it had some good stuff here and there, but it also had a lot of cheesy bad acting. I'm not saying that I went into this expecting it to be amazing or anything, but I thought it could have been a little bit better. I did think Chavez did a pretty good job playing his role. A few other characters here and there, but that Nate guy was just such a cornball. So anyways, that's my review of Wrong Turn 3 Left 4 Dead. Hope you guys liked this video. Leave your thoughts on this movie in the comments below, and thanks for watching. Bye.